I just started factoring in kind of 20 minutes of walking, 30 minutes of walking. Gone.
Cleared
Problem solved. Ladies and gentlemen, they lied to you about rest days. It's one of those things they say, take a day off. I know how that feels. You had a big week, plenty of jiu-jitsu, you've gone to the gym, kids, family, work, Sunday, day to chill. Incorrect. It's a lie. This is actually the worst thing you can do. And we're going to talk about what you can do to feel better and fix that broken body of yours. And it ain't sitting on the couch.
So wait, is Uncle JT saying go to open mat on your days off?
No. Hold on.
Shit.
But dang, more jiu-jitsu isn't the answer to fix my broken body? Sorry, fam. We need to get into it because there's a common problem, right? Like we've probably all been there. For some it's Sunday, for some it's whenever your day off is. You feel beat up. You're like, man, I really got it in this week. Man, my back hurts. My shoulder got a bit cranked. Maybe today's a good day to just sit on the couch or just chill a bit.
Yeah, you live a busy life, you train hard. Your brother deserves a little bit of time on the couch.
You deserve it.
It's God's will, one day of the week.
Day of rest.
That's right. My son.
Thank you, Helio, the Holy Father. But I think this is a real misconception because a lot of folks out there, they're bloody doing ice bars, they're doing peptides, they're doing saunas.
A lot of doing the gear.
Man, they're getting into it.
More
right?
neighborhood jiu-jitsu folks doing the gear than ever.
It's popular. But doing nothing is not solving your problems. I feel this is the big mistake. And I've been guilty of this in the past, but I've been able to kind of flip it around and I feel much better for it. You were actually saying before, Joe, that kids is a factor in this, would you say?
I find kids stitch me up a little bit in terms of getting more movement in.
Right.
Because, not stitch you up, but it's easy to be kind of like...
These damn toddlers wanting attention.
It's easy to just chill around the house. You know, let's play with this, let's do some stuff. And don't get me wrong, you can be physical and, go do some gardening, go mow the lawn,
Sure.
You can get your movement on. But before I had kids, there would have been more times where I'm like, I'm just going to go to the gym. I'm just going to wake up and go to the gym for an hour and a bit and just fuck around. I'm not training. Yeah. I'm just going to go do some shit.
Move around.
Or I'm going to go, it's a nice spring day. I'm going to go to the park, get out in the sun, do some shit.
Yeah.
And so just doing some shit is I have to be more deliberate about it.
Yes.
I've got to be like, whoa, hey, kids, all right, let's go to the park. You guys can let's do some handstand,
Yeah, it definitely takes way more organization and planning, which is not really what you want to do on your day off. You want to kind of think, man, I just want to not think too much and let my body rest. But folks, this is the problem. This is what they lied to you about because so many doctors, therapists, they're like, just take a day off, and it's the easiest answer because there's no answer. You can't be wrong when you say, hey, you feel tired and sore, do nothing. That appeals to you, right? You're like, yeah, hallelujah, brother, preach.
Yeah.
I want to do
and everyone's a bit overcooked, right? Like everyone's a bit underslept, overworked, kind of. So it kind of fits with that rationale. Like, well, I'll just do some nothing for a while.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The analogy that was given to me, this is actually many years ago, a guy called Ashley Jones, who was a strength conditioning coach for the Wallabies, I believe, or assistant S&C coach. But he was talking about how beat up the guys get from rugby union, and
that's the Australian rugby union team, by the way.
But if you're not across it, but it doesn't
Wallaby's
matter.
a small kangaroo-like creature.
Yeah, but these front rowers are colossal.
Oh, brother.
Mate, massive units, and they're bashing their bodies up as much as anybody, and they just want to do nothing on the day off. But they had them getting active, and he was talking about how when they play a big game, it's like throwing a big party, and you trash the place. Like you just absolutely, there's garbage bags, there's bottles everywhere. Just think of the biggest party you've ever had at your house or someone else's house that you may have completely destroyed.
Yeah.
Even a kick-out party. And you just...
like when you're leaving.
Yeah, you're like, it doesn't matter if we f this place up. So,
double leg this through the wall.
Well,
watch.
yeah, we're going to set that on fire. Yeah, it's going to be great. the next day, you know, if you're not responsible for the cleanup, that's fine. But if that house is your body, you have to deal with the repercussions.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit that needs attention.
Right. And if you've ever had to clean up after a huge party, you're like, no, I wish I had
What kind of fluid is that?
I wish I
Bro, these handrails are
This
sticky.
is slippery. Yeah. God, no diddy. This is the thing. This is the analogy he brought. It's really great when you got that helpful friend who just starts like, it's like midnight, 1 a.m. Party's still going, but someone just starts hitting the washing up. My mum's like that, actually. She just wants to go to bed early, but she's like, nah, I don't want to have to deal with all this bullshit tomorrow. So my mum she'll just start hitting the dishwashing. You're like, God damn, you can come to the party anytime, Mum. You're welcome. This is your house.
I mean, the
after
boys
all.
doing some lines. Why don't you come?
Just a bump, Mum. Hey, you get all the dishes done. But
I think that's general mum behavior.
it is mum behavior,
Yeah.
but there is usually a responsible friend
Yeah.
who they might even be starting to put the bottles
Yeah.
to the back door or something
Yeah.
so they don't get smashed everywhere or something like that, you know? Ladies and gentlemen, do you suffer from sore and swollen knuckles after a hard class of jiu-jitsu? I have the answer for you, the Fingertine, custom designed by our friend, the Grip Physio. Now, these wraps are specific for your fingers. Wrap them around, work them through, and reduce the swelling so you can recover faster and be back on the mats in no time. You can get 20% off when you use the code Bulletproof20 at checkout. Go to thegripphysio.com. And really, you doing movement and activity on your day off is that. It's that helpful thing that brings you forward to just having a nice, tidy house that works well, not having a sore, fucked up body. And what we're actually going to advocate for here, folks, is not just your day off. We're going to talk about every day. This is like something that you can be doing on a regular basis so you don't just spend the whole week trashing the house to then have a whole week's work trying to counteract on one day, you know? I think this is the big lie. It's like just thrash yourself all week and then in one day you can just fix it.
Yep.
Which is just kind of bullshit, really. So this is where I wanted to get into the idea of being able to do simple things. And it's not big. You don't have to do a whole workout, but things that you're not doing, which will help you out a lot. And I think this is where having a bit of a movement routine, which encompasses a few different things, is going to make a huge difference to the way your body feels come the end of the week.
Yeah, I think one of the tricky parts, one of the dilemmas here is that people see movement as training.
Yeah.
Or like working out. And so it's like, well, I work out and then I don't work out.
And I stop.
Yeah. So I work out for an hour a day or 2 hours a day, whatever. And then I, do the other things in my life. And like, that's all well and good, right? You got to train hard. You got to do that stuff. But the science shows, the data shows rather, that we are collectively more sedentary than ever.
Yes.
And that compared to our like hunter-gatherer ancestors, we move a lot less.
Oh, yeah.
Even someone who goes to the gym 5 days a week and throw in a few jiu-jitsu classes and, whatever, maybe go bike riding. It's actually, you still don't move as much.
No.
Right? And it's it's that tricky thing because you're like, but I f***ing go so hard. Like I'm so beaten up after jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And you are, but you're still not moving a lot.
That's right.
And this is the dilemma, right?
Yeah, I don't know if any of you out there have had this. I had a Baker's cyst, which is like a swelling at the back of the knee. It's acutely painful to touch. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with my leg? And I went and saw, actually, a friend of the pod, Seamus Hayes, shout out, Iron Fix. And he was like,
Seamus.
Nah, man, that's a Baker's cyst. He's like, are you walking much at the moment? This is a couple of years back. I was like, nah, who's got time for walking? What are you talking about? Like, I do jiu-jitsu, I lift weights, I train people in the gym.
Brother, I'm out here.
I'm getting it done. He's like, yeah, but he was talking about terminal knee extension, like fully locking out your leg. Because he said a Baker's cyst is just fluid that accumulates in this little sac that sits there because you're not fully extending your knee and you're not fully contracting your knee. Because by doing that, the fluid gets pushed out of there. So he got me to do some terminal knee extensions with a band. And he's like, dude, if you just walked more, this wouldn't be happening to you. And I was like, shit, walking? Really? Because I used to be a person who was like, walking is a waste of time. It doesn't make you fitter. It doesn't make you stronger. What the fuck am I doing walking for? Well, there's also all these other associated benefits, which we probably don't appreciate because walking isn't necessarily part of your life. So when you try and tell somebody who likes to wrestle to the death, hey man, have you tried walking? People are like, get the fuck out of here. I ain't a walker. So I had this Baker's cyst, which was preventing me from doing a bunch of shit because it was so painful. I just started factoring in kind of 20 minutes of walking, 30 minutes of walking. Gone. Problem solved.
Wow.
And I was like, holy shit, this shit works. Imagine. And it's just the natural functions of your body because as a jiu-jitsu person, it's rare that you fully extend your leg.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of dangerous. And, you know, you might have it really flexed, but depending on how sore your knees are, you might not be going into full flexion, you know, like a really deep squat.
Yeah. And it's also just a repetition thing, isn't it? Like you bending, like flexing, like bending and straightening the knee. Walking is you just do it thousands and thousands of times. Gentle. Like, and I think that's like with training is the high intensity, like heavy stuff.
Yeah.
But like this movement piece or walking, it's gentle, low impact stuff, but it serves its own purpose.
Yeah, and it lowers your blood pressure. You know, it burns like energy, mainly just very low. Like people always like, you're zone 2. It's zone 1. It helps clear your thoughts. There's so many benefits for you just being able to calm your body down and clean house. You don't even have to think about it. I mean, if you want to listen to a podcast or do whatever you can. I mean, maybe you've got a dog. A dog is a great excuse to just get out and go for a walk or go to the park.
Yeah, dog's good. Take the kids for a bike ride, you know, that kind of thing. Like just go walk the blocks, you know, or just instead of driving places, just walk.
Yeah.
Like if you live in the burbs, you can usually find a way to like, I'm going to walk to the shops or.
Yeah. Or even just, this might sound strange. This is just my mind obsessed with strongman. I usually try to park a little bit. You know how usually people are just gunning to park right next to the door of the mall or the shops?
Yeah.
I usually try and park a bit away because also I want to carry the shopping in my hands because that's going to strengthen my hands. But that's just it just factors in a bit of walking I didn't even think about. Now, it sounds inconvenient, but by you doing that, you're going to be less sore because you've improved your circulation. And really, I feel like this is where we're getting into why the am I doing this extra stuff? Like, I'm tired, I'm sore. Like, why would I want to do that little bit extra? And it's all about blood flow, my friends. That's where I think we really underestimate how important, like if you go get a massage, that it helps improve your venous return and getting the blood back, the blood that's full of all the waste products from your hard work and recombining it with oxygen and just clearing the house. Like this is just something that we don't think about doing. We think about having the raging party, but we don't think about the cleanup after.
Yeah, the blood flow piece, a kind of a way that people can visualize that. Like we all accept now that if you fly on a plane, that DVT is a reality.
Cankles.
Right, deep vein thrombosis, which is you sitting in a stationary position for so long that all of the blood and shit pools down in your lower leg. And you end up having like blood clots, right?
You can,
right?
It can happen, yeah.
Like, and so the solution is you have to get up and move a little bit, right? Which is really hard on a plane. But your body, like the extremities of your limbs work as pumps. And when you move, those pumps start to act and push blood back towards the center.
Yeah.
And I mean, you feel this, right? When you're sitting at the computer doing a long stint and you've been bashing it out for a few hours and whatever, you go for a walk or you get up and you do 30 squats or you do something, you come back and you're like, oh, my state has changed.
Yeah.
Like my body has changed.
Definitely.
And it's like, yeah, you've gotten all this shit moving. Like you're saying, waste product is moved out, nutrients are moved through, shit gets warmed up. Like there's so many benefits to it.
Yeah.
It's almost so simple though that it's absurd.
Yeah.
Right?
I think here's something else. Like this is a bad habit I fell into on my off days from jiu-jitsu. On jiu-jitsu days, I would drink 4 or 5 liters of water. Like I would just smash water. On days I wasn't doing jiu-jitsu, I would drink like all. I would have like a cup or 2 of water. Now that's not where I'm at now. I've kind of changed my approach, but I found activity drove thirst, which also drove.
That was the cue.
Yeah. It was like, oh, I'm moving. I need to drink water. And I'm not saying go for a run, but I'm saying just by merely being active, I'm like, oh, oh, I could use some water. But if I'm just sitting there at the computer, or if I'm just kind of around
Netflix.
yeah, whatever the fuck it is, sitting on my phone, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm thirsty. And that makes me think, Joe, our good friends at Sodi, we need to mention these guys because they are keeping us hydrated. Part of the thing for me is having a hydration routine. Like I had to make it a thing. I had to make it part of my day. Otherwise I fucking forget. So I typically do it at the start of the day. I do a sachet of Sodi, do it with some creatine, usually like half liter of water, a bit more. And yeah, or I do it before training. I always hit it before training. And if it's been a fucking sweaty, hard day, afterwards. But I feel like the hydration piece, if we think of your blood as either like really fluid and nice, or you can think of it as mud, you being dehydrated is, your blood is hard to move around the body. And that's just headaches, that's cramps, that's all the nonsense you deal with. When do you usually factor in the electrolytes, Joe?
Bro, I'll pump first thing in the morning, which
Yep.
has been a revelation for me in the last year or two. And then definitely around training. So depending on sort of, on, you know, what I've had to eat or drink, I might be drinking it before and during, or I'll pump Sodi straight after. Yeah. But it's like, I actually feel like it's such a simple game-changing supplement. I'm like, how did I not know about this for the last 20 years?
Yeah. And I think the thing that people don't really get is just drinking water, you just pass it. Like you put it in, it goes out.
I was drinking liters and liters of water and going to the toilet all the time. And as soon as I add some electrolytes, I don't go to the toilet. Yeah. You're like, hang on a second, what the is going on?
I'm keeping it in my body.
Yeah.
So it's a mixture of sodium, potassium, and magnesium, which is going to help your muscles. It's going to help your mind. And when you go to order Sodi, SODII.com.au, you use the code Bulletproof20 or 15, Bulletproof 15, and you get 15% off.
Very nice.
So get that hydration up you, improve your circulation, feel better. That's what you need. But so how can people start moving better? I think this is the thing that people are like, oh, but it's too hard. Like I got too much shit on, you know.
Well, yeah, I think people just like, what do you want me to do, right? Like there's endless things you can do, right?
Sure.
What, we'll sum it up here and give some simple shit that we like to do?
I think so. For me, I like to do at least one thing for the upper body, one thing for the lower body, like in terms of like stretching, mobility, movement-wise. And then I always factor in some kind of a walk somewhere in the day, wherever you can inject it. And, you know, if it works out you had a day where you did less walking, if I've got a day with more space, I'll do a bit more. But for the upper body, typically for me, it'll be something to do with trying to get my hands over my head. Because this is something we don't do in our day-to-day lives. And if your lats and your pecs get tight from just being there, from grappling or lifting weights, getting your arms overhead is so good for the shoulders, and it's so good for the spine, so you don't end up hunched.
Yeah.
And so whether that be, for me, it's either a hang, because I like that for decompressing the spine. Been doing some heavy weights lately, so it's like, that really helps me.
Minor flex there if you go. I've been doing some heavy
Well,
weights
you know,
lately,
I thought Joe was going to bloody drop that. Yeah, is that why you're getting so short, mate? You're getting shorter, aren't you?
You said it, brother.
Hey, I knew you were thinking it. So a bit of hanging, I always find good for the shoulders, and I'll always do some kind of rotation because I feel like that's also something tend to lack in the upper body, whether it be the shoulder or the spine. And then usually through the hips, it'll be something related to glutes because tight ass, stretch the glutes or hip flexors. Those are the two pieces that usually really fuck me up.
Which, by the way, if folks are like super lost for this, simplest place where you can follow a simple guide is to jump onto our app. We've got the Mobility Foundation program, the Bulletproof BJJ app. You jump on there, simple little routines that cover all of that stuff. Hips, upper body, shoulders, rotational work, built into like a simple little easy to follow program that you can tick off. You just go to the App Store, search for Bulletproof for BJJ, and you'll hit the app up there. Yep. Plus, you get 14 days free trial when you give it a go. But man, look, I like to do the same kind of thing. I think the way I look at it is like the lower body is like the pump.
Yep.
And I always want to get the pump going.
Yes.
So I will just squat. And so I often find like usually the cue for me is I'll go outside, to my garage, a little patch on the driveway where the sun hits.
Nice.
My son will say like, "Dad, can we go to the garage and train?" He just
Nice.
he just wants to play with toys. But I'll just do squats until I feel like a light sweat break.
Yeah.
So it might be like 30 squats. You know, I'll do 20, 30 squats, and I'll do some calf raises. Then I'll start swinging my arms, loosen up the spine, do a bit of hanging. And that for me is kind of like, that sort of ticks the box.
That's the correct.
But of course, like that would be, you know, then I would go out for a walk or whatever, or then I might do a bit more of a workout or do some light sets of something. But it always starts with that, like that simple stuff.
That's your base. For me, a little bit of dynamic work is also nice. Like I like doing like some lunging with the arm lift because it's like a 2-in-1. Open up the hip flexors, open up the shoulders. Like just doing some lunges with some arm lifts. Like I'll just do 5 to 10 each side. And I find that's super corrective. It's crazy just how minimal that is. And then, a bit of leg swings, bit of arms. You were doing a bit of arm swinging the other day.
Yeah, I like the arm swings a lot. I feel like, probably the second facet, like the circulation piece, and then opening up range.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, and because as soon as you start to open up the range, you're like, oh, I'm a little bit tight there. And so that lets you know, well, let's open that. Let's spend some time on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the arm swings for that, the joint circles, the arm rotations, the hip circles. I would do that shit. That is like that, like as well as making me move, that shit for me is the cue to train.
Right.
So I'll come into the gym in the morning. I don't feel like doing anything.
Start doing that.
And then once I've done 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, let's start the proper warm up. And
it brings you in.
Yeah.
And I think this is also a misconception. Like people are like, oh, but I don't have time to do a session. But we've talked about this before in the past, is sprinkling in movement snacks. And this is a Joey phrase, but this is something that I've kind of done in myself. I got this more from the Grease the Groove, Pavel Satsulin. If you haven't got time to do a whole workout, you just do a set of 5 of a movement and you just do that randomly through the day, like every hour, every 2 hours. Just get it in, just so you get your body exposed to the movement. Because if you don't do that, then your body is just going to be stuck and the circulation is not going to happen. So even if you're like, shit, I've only got 2 minutes, like what's 2 minutes? Well, just doing 10 squats will actually go a long way to correcting what's going on in the body and bringing your awareness to it. You tuning in with what's going on with your body is actually super important because we get super distracted in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah.
So I think the movement snacks thing is a bit of an unlock in terms of even if you've got a big family day planned for whatever's going on with you, you can still factor it in. You just got to be not self-conscious about just dropping into a squat when you're outside the cafe or
be the weird
guy. Yeah.
Look at this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, dude. I'm watching the Korean chef's hand or whatever, smoking cigarettes out the back. He doesn't have a problem sitting in a squat,
Right.
hanging
He
out.
got the best squat.
No one says shit about it, so I'm going to squat too.
Yeah, for sure. But there it is, folks. Movement is the medicine you need. Don't just spend your day on the couch. If you can factor these in on a daily basis, you're going to feel better, move better, and your jiu-jitsu will thank you. Shoo.